Hey grade 8s, welcome to your Monday math lesson. Guys, I just want to give you a shout out. You have been doing absolutely amazing with this online work. I'm overwhelmed with just how wonderful you guys have been. And I want to apologize a little bit on my end. I haven't been as quick to give feedback as I would have liked to. I've gotten so caught up with filming these videos and trying to edit them and everything that I've gotten a little bit far behind on the feedback, but I will try my best to keep on top of it as best as possible because I know you guys want to know how well you're doing and that you guys want to know, like, where your problems are lying or where you're having a little bit more trouble or difficulty, and I want to be able to help you out with that. But also, if you have any questions or anything, you're always free to email me. And I've gotten lots of emails, which has been absolutely fantastic. And thank you guys for the amazing questions you've been asking. And with that, I want to get into our Friday lesson. So, a little bit of a review. We were talking a little bit about word problems. So, a word problem could easily be something like the second problem, which was of your homework sheet, which was boy went to the fair. He came with $30, and the ticket was $10. And then he lost $15 because he dropped it from his wallet, and then he got another $10. So the way to go about this question is your original number is 30. So we have 30 minus $10 because he spent $10 means he doesn't have $10 more. Because if you have $30 and you spent $10 on something, you lose that $10. So 30 minus 10, and then he loses $15. So this 10 and this 15 right here are both negatives. Or they're not negative numbers, but you're subtracting a positive number, but you're subtracting it from your starting amount. So I have 30 and I lost $10 and then I lose another 15. And then I add 10. None of these numbers here have an integer in front of them. So they're all positive numbers. So this is a really simple math problem. Is basically you take $30, you minus $10. So I'm left with 20. I lose 15, and then I add $10 after. So I have $20, and I lose $15. So now I'm left with $5. And then I add, and I get $10 from my sister. So now I have $15 altogether. So this is a kind of a nice problem because you're working with all positive numbers. What if you had, let's say temperature is a huge one that you use for integers. Let's do a problem based off of temperature. So on Monday it was plus 10 degrees Celsius. On Monday. On Tuesday it was negative 4 degrees Celsius. Wednesday it was negative 2 degrees Celsius. Thursday was positive 5 degrees Celsius. And Friday was, let's say it was 1 degree Celsius. So what if the question was asking how much did the temperature fluctuate throughout the week? So on Monday, like what was the difference between Monday's and Tuesday's temperature? So I have positive 10, and it went down to negative 4. So what's the difference between those two numbers? So I do plus negative 4. So, because I went from Monday to Tuesday, I add them. So 10 plus negative 4 equals positive 6 degrees Celsius. So now at positive 6 degrees Celsius is the difference between these 2 days. was 6 degrees Celsius. What about the difference between Tuesday and Wednesday? From -4 to -2. That one I can easily just do by looking at a number line. It went 1, 2 spots, so it was 2 degrees Celsius. So with simple numbers like this, when you're not moving around too much, you can easily visualize it. Also, once you get a little bit more practice with integers, it's a little bit easier to visually see and visually be able to tell how much the temperatures or numbers fluctuated. And it just comes from practice and doing a lot of practice problems. So now you have -2. Let's go from Wednesday to Thursday. So -2 to +5. So I can easily just look at my number line, or I can do -2 plus +5, which gives me +3. Or sorry, no, my bad. Sorry, guys. The temperature difference between -2 and +5. So if I looked at my number line, 2, 3, 4, 5 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It went 7 degrees up. So that's also a really great example of sometimes when you look at these word problems and you get an answer that's something like 3 between those two numbers. I know that can't be right because I had -2 and it went up to +5. That's way too small of a number for the difference between those two temperatures. So that's something else you have to kind of you get the hang of, is just looking at your answers and being able to visually see, does that look right? So as you can tell, I clearly haven't gotten enough sleep this week. So now I'm looking at Thursday to Friday. So Thursday, Friday, this one's pretty simple. I went from +5 degrees down to 1 degree. What was the difference? From 5 degrees to 1 is 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 degrees Celsius. So you guys have done really well with the word problems, so that's fantastic. So you guys have gotten a really good idea of what the terminology is. So like if I owe money, it means I'm in a negative balance. So for example, there's one problem that at the end of it, it says that she owes $800. That means your balance is -800 because you owe that much money. That means like the next $800 that you earn doesn't belong to you. You have to give it to someone else because you owe them that money. So for example, if I borrow $800 from the bank because I want to buy, let's say you're buying a new car, oftentimes you go to the bank to get a loan. And let's say the bank loans you $800. You're at a negative balance because you owe the bank $800. So that means the next $800 I have to pay back to the bank. Okay, so that's just a little bit of an idea of where, like, also where integers would be used in day-to-day life. When you guys have checking accounts and credit cards and everything like that, you'll see it quite a bit, especially if you look at online banking. Online banking is basically just integers of where the balance is for the money that you're spending and the money that you're earning. Okay, so our next section here is probably going to be a little bit easier for a lot of you, is our orders of operations with integers. So you guys remember BEDMAS? We have brackets, exponents, division, multiplication, addition, and subtraction. So when it comes to integers, same process, you're just dealing with integers numbers. So let's do a couple practices of, let's do +5. Also, when it comes to brackets and integers, you'll often see something called with double brackets, because normally when you write out an integer, it's like -2 in a bracket. When it has order of operations and you have a bracket problem that you need to do first, you'll see double brackets. I'll show you what I mean. So let's do one right here. Minus -2. It'll have double brackets like this sometimes. So it's just something to kind of keep in mind, just pay attention to where the brackets are. If it's only in front of one number, that's just the brackets to single out that integer, and then you pay attention to the bigger brackets. Other times you might see square brackets like this, just to also differentiate it. That would be another way you would see them. Either way, it's the same thing. They're both just different types of brackets. So I have positive 5 minus negative 2, and let's do times negative 3. So order of operations, I got to do brackets first. So I have positive 5 minus negative 2, so I'm at 5 minus negative 2. Remember, when there's two negative symbols right beside each other, it becomes a plus, because those two negative symbols come together to join to make a positive. So positive 5 plus 2 equals 7. So I have positive 7 times negative 3. 7 times negative 3 is, remember, there's only one negative symbol. If it's a positive times a negative, my answer is going to be a negative number. 7 times 3 is 21. So my final answer would be negative 21. We're going to do a couple more practice problems. I'll do one that's a little bit more complex, that has a little bit more steps, just so you guys will have a really good example of the different ways you would see integers. So let's do one with an exponent this time as well. So let's do bracket 5, positive 5 divided by, oh, no, it's not do division for this part. Positive 5 times negative 8 plus negative 2 exponent 2 bracket divided by negative 7, and then times positive 3. So, all right, let's do this step by step. First section is brackets. So I have, let's do my bracket. We're gonna do, actually I'm gonna change this question just a little bit to make it a little easier. There we go. So I have positive 5 times negative 8. So positive times a negative means my answer is going to be a negative number. So I'm at negative 40 plus negative 2, other bracket, exponent divided by negative 7 plus positive 3. So you guys will notice I always write them out step by step, just because I find it's a little easier to see the flow of how the question is answered. So I have negative 40 plus negative 2. There's two opposite symbols right beside each other, so I'm at negative 40, and I'm going to the left. So I know I'm going to be at negative 38, because if I was going on a number line, I had to go 2 spots to the left, so I'm at negative 38 to the power of 2 divided by negative 7 plus positive 3. So my next step is to do my exponents. So negative 38 times negative 38, because when it's to the power of 2, you just know it's being multiplied by itself. In this case, I know it's going to be positive because a negative times a negative equals positive. So negative 38 times negative 38 equals positive 1,444 divided by negative 7 plus positive 3. I'm just going to erase my top part here so I can continue on up here. Okay, so I'm just going to recopy this down, is 1,444 divided by -7 plus +3. So my next step of BEDMAS is to do division. So I have to do 1,444 divided by 7 equals divided by -7. So I know my answer is going to be a negative because a positive divided by a negative equals negative. So it's going to be negative. It's going to be a decimal number of 206.29 rounded plus +3. So normally I try not to give you guys too many decimals, but the same rules apply with integers with decimals. The only difference is you just have a decimal tagged onto the end of it. So I'm at -206.29 plus +3. So a negative plus a positive number, I'm going to the right on the number line because I have two positives right beside each other here. So I'm going to be at -203 because this number was at 206 and I would have to go 3 spots to the right. That would get me at 203. So -203.29 would be my new answer. So the only thing that changed was the whole number. The decimal just stayed the same because I wasn't doing anything else with a decimal number. So I know that one's really crazy. Normally your questions will not be that crazy. This is just an example, just so I could show you guys all the different ways you could see integers in BEDMAS and order of operations. So you're going to have a few questions of integers and order of operations. And just you have to remember the order of BEDMAS. I know you guys are going to do really well with this because I remember even when we did fractions with order of operations, you guys were killing it. So just remember, you have your brackets and exponents first, then division, multiplication, and addition and subtraction. So let me know if you have any questions whatsoever, and I will help you guys out. Like I said, I can always give you a text response over email. If you prefer chatting about it verbally, we can also find a time where I can call you and we can chat about it. Or I've been doing this a bit with some other students, is by doing a few practice problems with them, or even just doing the first question of the homework and doing a 5-minute video and sending it their way. So it would just be an example that they could kind of work off of. So let me know. I hope you guys have had a fantastic weekend. And let me know if you have any questions. We're almost done with this unit here and we're gonna move on to our next unit shortly. All right. Thank you guys.